In this video, we're going to have a look at expanding a set of binomial distributions, and that is where we've got two sets of brackets. So by watching the video, by the end, you'll be able to expand a set of binomial expressions. So our standard form, when we are looking at two sets of brackets, we're going to have an a plus b in one set of brackets and a c plus d in a second set of brackets. And that is the form that we are looking to expand in this video. So before we go ahead and have a look at how do we complete that distribution, I just want to make a note that when we are subtracting terms, subtractions can also be written as addition using negative numbers. So for example, if we had x minus 4, another way of writing that is going to be x plus negative 4. If I had negative 2x minus 1, another way of writing that is going to be negative 2x plus negative 1. And when I have negative numbers as part of my expression, I normally like to put them into a set of brackets to help me remember that they are in fact a negative number. So when we are doing our expanding, especially with our binomial distributions, I always find it easier if I've got a subtraction in my expression to write it as a plus negative number. Writing a subtraction as a addition with a negative number, I find makes it easier and less confusing as I work through my FOIL method when I am doing my distribution. So there are two ways of completing our binomial distribution. The method that I normally use is the FOIL method. So the FOIL method stands for firsts, outsides, insides, and lasts. So it is 4 sets of multiplication that we need to complete to be able to do our distribution. So when we're looking at firsts, we're looking at the first term in each of the brackets, and we're going to multiply those two terms together. So in my standard form, the first terms are going to be a and c. So my first multiplication to expand is going to be a multiplied by c. After I do the first terms, I'm then looking at the outside terms. So the two outside terms in each of my sets of brackets, so that is going to be a and d. So now I'm going to multiply a and d together as my second step. My next step is to multiply my inside numbers together. So the two numbers on the inside of my expression, and that is going to be b and c. So my next step is b times c, and then finally, to finish off the first step of the FOIL method, I multiply the lasts together. So the two last terms in each of the brackets. So that is going to be b times d. So my expanded form is a times c plus a times d plus b times c plus b times d. So after I've applied the FOIL method, I can go ahead and simplify and do my multiplications. So that is going to equal to ac plus AD plus BC plus BD. So the expanded expression from A plus B, C plus D is equal to AC plus AD plus BC plus BD. So the FOIL method is the method that I normally like to use when I'm expanding binomial distributions. The other method is the area model method. So that is where we draw a square to help us complete our distribution. So we take our first term of a plus b and write it down along the top. Then we take our second term of c plus d and write it down along the side. Now I draw a square and complete it based on my terms I've written along the top and down the side. So my first one is going to be multiplying a times c. So a times c. Then I'm going to add in another square next to it. And this time is going to be b times c, so plus b times c. Then moving down the bottom, it's going to be a times d, so adding that into my expression, my expanded expression. And finally is going to be b times d. So then I can simplify that expanded expression as equal to ac plus bc plus ad plus bd. So you get the same answer, it's just a different method of doing the distribution. So I like to use the FOIL method, and for the examples in the video will be completed using the FOIL method. but you may have seen the area model method before, and if you're more comfortable using that method, certainly go ahead and do the activities using that method. So let's have a look at some examples. In the first example, I want to expand x plus 3, x plus 2. So I'm going to apply the FOIL method and starting off with the first terms. So the first term in each of the bracket is going to be x times x. So then I move on to the outsides. So the outside term in each bracket is going to be x and 2. So it's going to be plus x times 2. Then my inside terms is going to be 3 and x. So plus 3 times x. And then finishing off with the last terms in each of the bracket. So that is going to be 3 times 2. So the expanded expression is x times x plus x times 2 plus 3 times x plus 3 times 2. Now I can go ahead and simplify that. So x times x is going to be x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. So I've gone ahead and multiplied all my terms together. Then I can collect any like terms. So I've got a 2x and a 3x, so I can add them together, and that is going to get me 5x. So I don't add x squared in with that 5x, because to be a like term to be collected, it has got to have the same indice or the same power. So x and x squared are separate terms and can't be collected together. So my answer for x plus 3, x plus 2, the expanded form is x squared plus 5x plus 6. Let's go ahead and have a look at a second example. This time I'm expanding the expression x plus 2 and then x minus 5. So I'm going to start off again by applying the FOIL method and starting off with the first term and multiplying the first term in each bracket, so that it's going to be x times x. Then I'm going to multiply the outside terms together, and the outside terms is going to be x and negative 5. So because in my second set of brackets it is a subtract 5, I'm going to look at that together and class it as a negative 5. So my outside terms is going to be x times negative 5. Then applying the inside terms, so 2 and x, so plus 2 times x. And then the outside terms is 2 and negative 5. So that's going to be plus 2 times negative 5. So my first step of my working out is going to be x times x plus x multiplied by negative 5 plus 2 multiplied by x plus 2 multiplied by negative 5. Now I can go ahead and start to simplify by multiplying my terms together. So x times x is going to be x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. 2 times x is x. And then 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. So now I can have a look for like terms, and I've got a negative 5x and a 2x. So when I add those like terms together, it is going to get me a negative 3x. So my expanded expression is going to be x squared minus 3x minus 10. Now, if you wanted to, you can also write that as x squared plus negative 3x plus negative 10. But when I'm writing my final answer, I like to convert it back into subtractions. So it is going to be x squared minus 3x minus 10. So let's have a look at a third example. In my third example, the expression I want to expand is 2x plus 3 and then x minus 5. So I'll go ahead and apply the same steps. So applying the FOIL method, so multiplying the first terms together. So that is going to be 2x multiplied by x, and then multiplying the outside terms, so 2x, and again, it is a subtract 5, so I'm going to class it as a negative 5 in my calculations. So it's going to be plus 2x multiplied by negative 5. Then I'm going to do my inside terms, so 3 and x, so plus 3 multiplied by x, and then finishing off with my last terms, which is 3 and negative 5. So plus 3 multiplied by negative 5. So now I can start to simplify by multiplying my terms together. So 2x multiplied by x is equal to 2x squared. And then it's going to be plus 2x times negative 5, so plus negative 10x, plus 3 multiplied by x, so plus 3x, and then plus 3 times negative 5, which is negative 15. So then I can go ahead and collect my like terms. So negative 10x plus 3x is going to get me to negative 7x. So my expanded answer is going to be 2x squared minus 7x minus 15. So having a look at the fourth example, and it is going to be x minus 2, x plus 5. And again, we have a subtraction in our expression. So what we're going to do is we're going to treat that as a negative 2 when we are applying our FOIL method. So having a look at applying the FOIL method and starting off with the firsts, and the first terms are x and x. So x multiplied by x. The outside terms is x and 5. So it's going to be plus x multiplied by 5. My inside terms is going to be negative 2 and x. So plus negative 2 times x. So finishing off by looking up the last terms and multiplying the last terms together. So that is going to be negative 2 multiplied by 5. So my expanded expression is x multiplied by x plus x multiplied by 5 plus negative 2 multiplied by x plus negative 2 multiplied by 5. Then I'm going to start to simplify by multiplying my terms together. So x squared plus 5x plus negative 2x plus negative 10. Having a look and seeing at what like terms I can collect. So I got a 5x and a negative 2x. So when I add 5 and negative 2 together, I get 3. So I'm going to have 3x. So my final answer is going to be x squared plus 3x minus 10. So having a look at our last example, this time I've got x minus 7 and 6 minus x. So I've got two subtractions. So the first one is going to be treated as negative 7, and then the second one is going to be treated as negative x or negative 1x because there is a 1 in front of the x. So looking at applying the FOIL method, the first terms, so it's going to be x multiplied by 6, multiplying my outside terms, so x and negative x, so x multiplied by negative x. Then I'm going to multiply the inside terms, so negative 7 and 6, so plus negative 7 multiplied by 6, and then finishing off with the last terms, and that's going to be negative 7 and negative x, so plus negative 7 multiplied by negative x. So now I can start to simplify by multiplying my terms together. X multiplied by 6 is going to be 6x, and then plus x multiplied by negative x is going to be negative x squared, plus negative 7 multiplied by 6 is going to be negative 42, plus negative 7 multiplied by negative x is going to be a positive 7x. Because remember, when I'm multiplying two negative numbers together, my answer is going to be positive. So collecting my like terms, I've got a 7x and a 6x. So that adds to give me 13x. So my final answer is going to be negative x squared plus 13x minus 42. So that are some examples of how we can use the FOIL method to complete a distribution of two sets of brackets.